right, so it has happened. Hey, Lily with Living Room Realty here in Portland, Oregon, here to give you your monthly market update for the month of May. So as I alluded to there in the beginning, we are actually finally seeing a shift in the market. Not a huge shift by any means, I will say. We are still definitely in a seller's market and will be in for a while, but we are starting to see things shift a little bit more in buyers' favor, which is really exciting to see if you are a home buyer. And I'll really get into in this video. Obviously, we're gonna go over the numbers and all the stuff that we go to in market updates. But what I wanna talk about first is why we think we're seeing a shift here. And frankly, I've talked to some agents all over the country actually just yesterday, and they are seeing similar things. And then we'll go into talking about what this means for home buyers and what this means for home sellers and how you can best prepare yourself if you are planning to be either here in the next few months. So first off, why we think the market is shifting some. Really what we're seeing is, yes, you have the normal market still where a lot of properties are going, on the market on a Thursday and they're pending by Monday and they're getting a bunch of offers, they're getting a bunch of people through the open houses. That still definitely exists in a lot of markets, in a lot of price points, but we are seeing with some homes that they are sitting on the market a little bit longer, maybe lasting through the next week or even longer than that. Or we're really just seeing if a house isn't properly priced or it hasn't put in the work ahead of time to, prep the property, make sure it's decluttered, all the things that we as realtors would tell you to do on the selling side. We are seeing those homes sit on the market longer, which is, just emblematic of a little shift in our market, because before this, you could pretty much list your house at almost any price. Obviously, we saw some houses sit if they were just astronomically priced, but for the most part, we could see houses be listed at any price, any condition, anything without any marketing, bad photos, all of that. And they would at least get a, offer in that first week, or, would still get multiple offers, frankly, and you'd have to rush to see those homes. We're not seeing that be the case anymore, which is pretty interesting for our market. And I think, it was kind of good news for everybody. I've argued in the past, I think even for home sellers, it's nice if a market isn't just so extreme. And so what this means for us in our market, well, for buyers, it means, maybe some more options. If you see homes sitting on the market a little bit longer, that means when you go out and see properties on a Saturday afternoon, there might be 5 options for you versus 2 that actually work for your needs. Or let's say you do still go look at 6 or 7 properties, you might actually have the ability to write offers on one, and it's not against 7 other people. Maybe there's 2 other offers, and you're not going to have to write an offer for $50,000 to $100,000 over asking. It's going to be for $10,000 to $25,000 over asking. So still, you're going to have to be really competitive. We're still going to want to use competitive terms, but it's just going to be a little bit more balanced. Also, it'll be interesting to see too, I think our market has caught up to pricing to some degree. So we're seeing some stabilization, mainly due to interest rates. I've done some other videos on that. We can talk a little bit more about it as well, of course. Because interest rates have rose, we are going to see the market stabilize a little bit more when it comes to pricing, just because simply some buyers, unfortunately, are going to get priced out of the market, or, investors aren't going to want to really buy homes as frequently as they have been in the last few years, because money just simply isn't as cheap. And also, people that are out there buying, they're just not going to want to offer up as much because they simply can't, or they don't want to, seeing what their monthly payment will be. So that's creating a little bit more price stability and a little bit more hesitancy just to go and offer. And that's where you're not seeing as many offers on homes. With that, it's just really knowing the market. So I will say with the shifting market, it can make things a little hard as well. Yes, you're getting more opportunities. Things might not be just as competitive, but knowing the market will be really critical, and knowing, how much do we actually have to offer up? Can we be a little bit more simplistic on other parts of our offers? There's so much going into my brain about this. I'll do a whole nother video for you home buyers on this, because I could ramble forever on that topic. There's so much to go into. But as I alluded to before, we should see prices stabilize a little bit more, and we should be able to see prices stay closer to the listing price, which is nice to see. For you home sellers, this is really where we've talked about in the past. You want to make sure you're doing all of your due diligence. You want to make sure you are prepping your home as much as possible, and that you're having a clear and very transparent conversation with your realtor around pricing of your home. So as I said before, just putting your home on the market and not going and doing all those little things you should do around your house to make it spick and span, which we always recommend anyways because we want you to get the most money for your house, but really making sure you're doing as much as possible to make your home presentable. If you're living in the home still, that might be some supplemental staging, or simply at least just going around with that magic eraser and taking all the scuffs off the wall. And then when it comes to pricing, now this is where it gets a little interesting in this market because, before we would tell you, okay, we're gonna list your house at this price. And then there's a potential that even though this is where the comparable properties are showing the house will be priced at, you might get 50K to 100K over asking. We're not seeing that as much anymore. It is still the case for some properties and some price points, but there is also the circumstance where that is the price you're going to get. So when we're talking with home sellers, a good realtor will be very transparent with you and saying, look, you want to make sure you're offering or you're pricing your home at a place that is competitive and strategic, but also that you're okay accepting that price because you might simply over the weekend only get one offer. And it might be for the list price or it might be for, only 10, 20K over asking. And I know you've seen a bunch of news articles telling you that the house might sell for this crazy astronomical number. And yes, that'd be nice for you, but we need to kind of reel things in because things might be changing here and already are based on what we're hearing. And my brokerage, we're very open and talk with each other about what activity we've seen over the weekend. And in some cases that is just one offer and it's close to list price. So having those conversations up front will be really helpful and making sure that your expectations are set. What this also means for both home buyers and sellers is also as the market shifts, if you only have one offer in hand, it kind of makes negotiations a little different as well. When I work with a home buyer, we might come in with some repair requests and the seller goes, well, look, we have 5 other offers that we can fall back on. We don't want to do any of those repairs for you. If you only have one, if we were your only offer, that changes the negotiations. It means that the seller can't go front and go, well, I have other offers to go back to. So for both you sellers and buyers, it's gonna change that dynamic a little bit if you're in a situation where there were less offers and the price wasn't jumped as much. So with all of that, it's just really, really understanding this market, and that's what I'm here to help you with. I will kind of run through the numbers here quickly because I think this month was going to be more anecdotal since it's just kind of what we're seeing right now, literally the last 2 weeks versus what the numbers are, which the numbers are for last month. But I'll run through them quickly here because it says the market update. So for new homes to the market last month, we saw a 4% increase of 3,684 homes. Pending sales, we saw actually a slight decrease of 1% with 3,005 homes going under contract. That might be a little bit because of the hesitancy due to higher interest rates. Interesting to look into that more. Sold homes saw an increase of 3% with 2,782 homes going to new homeowners. Inventory of homes saw a slight increase up to 0.8 months again, which is really exciting to see. Days on market I mentioned earlier went down a little bit to 21 days. It'll be interesting to see if that will go back up here in May with that, shift in the market that we're seeing here slightly. And then average price, we saw in between, I saw 2 different numbers. One was so starkly dramatic that I wanted to give you the other one too on the MLS update. So first number is average home price in the Portland metro area being $605. And then the higher number was $632,000 as the average price. And you can probably see why I didn't want to give that as just your number because that would really freak some people out. But it's I would say somewhere in the middle of that. Use whichever number makes you happier. If you're a home seller, you probably want the larger one. If you're a home buyer, let's just say it's closer to 605. Okay, hope all of that was helpful. I'm getting up to 9 minutes here in this video, so I'm gonna shut down. I will probably go into some of these topics in more detail because I think there's so much more to say on them, so stay tuned for those videos. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to chat with you. I will have my contact information below and look forward to being your resource for all things Portland, Oregon real estate. Thanks.